Good morning, Coach. We got a look at the depth chart last night, and one place of interest for us was at the right guard, right tackle decision. What went into putting Solomon with the ones?
Look, like I said yesterday, I mean, I wouldn't put too much into the depth charts. Look, I mean, we got a really tough opponent. It's going to be a competitive environment. Everyone's got to be ready to play. That's been my message to the team. That was my message this morning. That'll continue to be my message. So, you know, again, like I said yesterday, I wouldn't put too much into the depth chart. Everybody's got to be ready to go.
Cam Wolf.
Good morning, Flo. I know you always preach competition, so none of these things are final. But obviously, you named Fitz as a starter. Last year, we saw Rosen, I guess, after a couple of games. Do you anticipate Fitz, secure in that spot, or could there potentially be a quicker hook like it was last year?
You're breaking up a little bit, but I think the gist of it was, could a situation come up that Tua could play, essentially? That was the question?
Is there a quicker hook? Could there be a quick hook, or is Fitz more secure in spot than he was last year?
Is anybody else having any trouble hearing?
Hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead. One more time.
My question is Fitz more secure in his starting spot this year than he was last year when he had a quicker hook? Could we see some of Fitz, or is he more secure, essentially?
I mean, Fitz has done a good job in training camp. Obviously, he's a veteran. He's got leadership. He's experienced. We feel good about, where he is, and really the offense, the defense, the special teams. So we'll see how things go. And we feel good about where he is right now.
Omar.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the nickel position. That seems to be one of the hardest positions to play, and you're facing one of the teams that utilizes the position quite well. Do you want to go with experience there, or is that something where you want to play the best player?
Well, it's always a combination of both. Talent, experience, ability to communicate. I mean, I think all those things play a factor in who's in those at the nickel position, or the any of those sub kind of packages. So we've had a lot of conversations about who's going to be the nickel, who's going to play the dime, who's going to play defensive line in those situations. So but like you said, Julian Edelman's a great player. He's in the slot, primarily, but he also plays outside. I mean, I've seen him in the backfield also. So they move him around quite a bit. We've got to be prepared for really all of it. And, that's what this week of preparation is all about. So, hopefully we go out there and have a good week of practice. And look, they're going to show us things that we haven't seen. There's been no preseason games. But if we can communicate, we can, play with good fundamentals and technique, I think we'll be okay.
Adam Beasley.
You just mentioned how there's going to be some uncertainty going into week one. Is there uncertainty about your own team? What is your level of confidence that you know what you have, and when you dial it up on Sunday, you're going to get that result?
I mean, we've had, a month of practice, 14 padded practices, and a little bit more, whether it's the OTA practices or the walkthrough. So, there's uncertainty really across the board with our opponent. And again, you never really know. Like we talked about it, there's a lot of young players playing, a lot of new faces on this team. So, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknown. You really don't know until you step out on the field. We're going to practice and prepare and try to put our best foot forward and, try to come out of there with a win. But it won't be easy. We understand that. So, I mean, you can, say uncertainty, say, this or that. But, when you go up and play against a good football team, which one is it? Is it uncertainty, or is it, good competition? They make plays, we make plays. Which one is it? So, I mean, it's a kind of a tough question to answer.
Alan?
Good morning, Brian. I'm wondering whether there's any significance in the fact that there are 8 captains this year as opposed to 4 last year.
I mean, I would say there's quite a bit of good leadership in the team. There could have been there was 4 or 5 other guys who got votes as well. So that's a good thing. There was quite a few guys who received votes. I think there's a good amount of leadership here, and we need that. You need 53 leaders on your team, and that's what we're looking for, and that's always something I try to talk about. You need as much leadership on a football team as you can get, and just because you're a captain doesn't mean, or you're not a captain, I should say, doesn't mean that you don't have a leadership role in the team. And that's I've talked to the players about that. If something's wrong or we got to make a call on the field, and it doesn't have to just be the captain who makes that call. They were the guys who were voted by their teammates. So you need 53 leaders on the team, and I'm happy to have the 8 guys we have. There were some I would say there are 4 or 5 other guys honestly who also got votes. So, but there were some other guys. There's some other guys who didn't get votes who I see leadership in as well. So I'm happy with the 8 guys that were chosen, and we'll move forward with those guys.
Cam?
Hey, Flo, hope you can hear me a little better now. Wanted to ask, I know you don't take a lot of stock into last year, but the last game we saw your team play was up in Foxborough against this team. Are you able to take any, I guess, confidence or I guess guidance in general from how you perform?
No. I mean, last year was last year, and this year is a totally different year. They've got different players. We have different players. We've made changes to the coaching staff. They made a few changes to their coaching staff. So every year is different. And our goal is just to prepare for this week. We're not, really thinking about, what happened last year. In that last game was a totally different situation, 2 different teams. There were fans in the stadium. I mean, it's just there's so many differences from this year to last year on so many levels that we weren't taking COVID tests every day last year either. So there's just there's differences. Schedules are different. The way we travel is going to be different. So no.
Go to Hal.
Hello, you got me now? Can you hear me okay?
Got you now, Hal.
Okay. You had mentioned a minute ago about the fact that there would be no fans, and I'm wondering, as a visiting team, how does that affect your preparation, if at all? Because obviously, when you go into a really noisy situation, hand signals are involved and so forth. Does this affect your preparation very much this week?
Well, there will be some noise. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, we know what the decibel level is supposed to be, but does it affect our preparation? I mean, we'll go about it as if, there's a situation where we may need to go to silent count or hand signals. If we need it, we'll go to it. If we don't need it, we won't. But yeah, the preparation, it's a little different in that in some cases, where there's going to be crowd noise, it's going to be loud. In this situation, I think we're going into it with the assumption that it will be, whatever decibel levels this can get up to, it will be loud enough that we have to make hand signals or silent count or things of that nature. So that's how we'll prepare for it. It will be different. It will be unique. I mean, I don't think any of us have been in a situation like this in an NFL game. So there's a little bit of a learning curve here as well.
All right, we have time for one more. We'll go to Omar.
I want to ask you about your slot receiver role. I know I'm in your nickel packages right now. Isaiah Ford's obviously a guy who played a lot last season. How much do you feel like he's ready to become an NFL starter, or do you feel like this is a situation where you've got enough receivers that you can move them around and Jakeem can be in that unit?
I think we got a lot of good good players in the receiver room, in the tight end room, in the running back room. Who aligns in the slot is really dependent on what formation we give them. So you could see a running back in the slot, you could see a tight end in the slot, you could see a receiver in the slot. Depends on what formation we're giving them. What matchup we're looking for. So specifics to one player. If it's Isaiah or Jakeem or Breida. I mean, Devontae. They've all been in the slot. So specific to that area of the field. Could be a number of people. I think your question's about, maybe a couple players, Isaiah, Jakeem. I think, Isaiah's had a good camp. He's been dependable and productive in practice. He's made a few plays in games, particularly at the end of last year. Jakeem obviously is explosive, as explosive a player as there is in the league. So I think we have a few options, and once we get to Sunday, we'll see who's out there and who can help us try to win the football game.